Today we're talking about a dirty word in business, and that dirty word is silo. So, when you think of silo, I want to make sure that we're thinking the same thing. So, when I think of silo, I'm thinking of an organization that each discipline, and when I talk about a discipline, I mean like marketing, finance, sales, product, engineering, so forth, tech support, we all operate in our own sphere. And so what's happening is at the top level, CEO and all the leadership, they talk about common goals and all of the things that we need to do, and they talk amongst themselves. And then what they do is they come back to each one of their groups, and that information trickles down, and then it trickles back up again and gets shared, and so forth. And there's very little cross collaboration between each one of those disciplines. If that's an organization that you work in, it may work, it may suit you very well, or it may not. But if you don't know the opposite, if you've worked in a siloed organization, have not worked in an organization that is not siloed, and vice versa, you may not see the implications of what that might mean to your business. And having worked in small, medium, large enterprises, there have been many that have had silos, and it's not been something that I think is very productive for the organization. I think it limits the amount of insight that you get from various perspectives. It doesn't allow for easy cross collaboration and inclusion of things that are best practices or learnings that you've got from doing things. So for this blog post or this vlog, I'm actually focused on the marketing portion of this, even though I think it can apply for any of the disciplines working cross-functionally. But what I see a lot in marketing is that it's more of a baton, like being passed from organization to organization. So the silo here, might be product marketing. So product passes things to product marketing, and then product marketing passes it down to marketing, and then marketing executes on that. And that is a silo. I mean, you're working independently and just passing things along as if it's a machine, and then it gets pushed out, and it may or may not, that information may not flow backwards. It may not flow from marketing to product, marketing back to product. And that is very, very that is a very good example of the siloed organizations or siloed thinking that holds a lot of organizations back. And so in this video, I really want to focus on how do we eliminate those silos, because there's so many benefits that you get from working not just cross collaboratively within your group or your discipline, but working cross collaboratively with all of these groups. And when I think about marketing, the biggest thing that I see is the lack of working together without that baton passing. So for instance, if you're going to kick off this giant campaign that is going to help bolster sales for the organization, because ultimately our goal is to have a for-profit organization that makes money. So we need a campaign that drives a lot of attention, that gets people interested, that brings them in, that we can eventually sell to, blah, blah, blah. You all know the gist of that. But if you're kicking off a campaign where it's marketing is like saying, this is the thing that we're going to pitch, or product is saying, this is the feature and the functionality that we're going to pitch to the audience, whoever it starts with, if somebody's conceptualizing and that trickles down and it's very few people are part of that process, and then there's an execution, that's not going to go over well. So there's 4 things that I think are imperative that people do in order to break down the siloed organization so you get the maximum benefit out of your business. And the first one starts with collaboration with familiarity. So I truly believe that if you're going to put together a program or a campaign or anything, the first iteration of that, whether that idea comes from the CEO or somebody on the ground or sales or whoever it is, but you've decided to put the money, investment, time, effort, all of that into making this go live, is that you get the relevant people together to talk through this from a high level, and you need to dedicate some time to that. So it's not just a couple of people coming up with, this is the message, and then a couple of people coming up with, these are the tactics. Get together in a room, get familiar with each other, because you guys are going to be working together despite the job responsibility. Everybody has a piece to play or a part to play in this campaign. But if you don't start out with some general consensus on what this campaign is going to look like or what those outcomes are going to look like, it's disaster. It's going to be a complete disaster. So get into a room, get familiar with each other, and really open your mind up to what they have to say and what they are recommending. Because I guarantee marketing has a ton of learnings that they have had from putting out campaigns over and over again on what channels are working, messages are working, pieces of content that are working, all of those mechanics, who the influencers are in this environment. All of that needs to be elevated and not just executed on and then reported back. You need to have all those learnings up front. And that can often dictate what the message looks like. Do you need something that's more high level? Who are you going after? Who's the audience that this is for? Everything has to be precise for the people, the outcome that you are trying to generate. So get in a room, talk about it, talk about what you need, make a list of the things that need to happen, but that strategy needs to come first. You all need to get familiar with each other because you're going to be talking to each other a lot. Across groups, just break down those barriers initially. Second tip is don't set and forget. So don't execute on this campaign, get going, and then everybody does their job like, minions, and you come back and put the campaign out and then look at the results, and somebody looks at the results, other people don't care. No, everything has to be tweaked along the line. Open up those lines of communication, whether you open up a Slack channel and you're all talking about what you need and what you don't, highlight the things that aren't working, highlight the things that are working, figure out problems together or figure out solutions to the problems together, and then share any learnings along the way. Don't hide things from each other. That doesn't build trust, and that does not breed familiarity within the team. So don't set and forget. Come back, revisit on a constant basis. If you can do this on a weekly basis and share all the learnings out from all of the different groups, that's going to be the best bet for your entire organization. The third one is choose one goal that everyone is measured on. So I know this is a bone of contention in a lot of whenever I've brought this up, is that yes, marketing usually is measured on MQLs, sales is measured on SQLs and closure and all of that. Product is focused on how many features and functionalities they can put out. But if you're all measured along these different things, they don't all work together. The ultimate goal should be to bring revenue, ARR, whatever you're measuring that money component on, that should be your goal. And everybody should be tied to that goal. Product should be tied to that goal in some way. Product marketing. Marketing absolutely needs a revenue number assigned that they are bringing in or contributing to. And sales, obviously, that's not going to change. They've always been the ones that are tasked with bringing in that kind of pipeline and that kind of revenue. So everybody needs to be working towards this one goal that you've all decided on. Because if you all have the same goal, you all function as one. You don't function as completely disparate groups with conflicting, end games. The end game has to be the same for all of you. And finally, the fourth one is marketing must be in regular communications with product teams. This is one big fault that I see everywhere, is that it's always a baton system, a silo, where something gets created in one group and gets passed on to the other, but there's no backward flow. There's no sitting down in a room together and saying, hey, this is the plan. This is the results that we're seeing. How do we fix this? And it's not just one asking the other. It's you collaborating together to make sure that you understand the goal to wit. And from my third tip is that goal that you're going towards is able to be reached because both of you are working together. So be in regular communications with each other all the time. And my final thing is marketing isn't fluffy. You're going to see this in my blog. Marketing is not fluffy. We are not here to make things pretty and to just execute on a strategy that somebody else creates. Marketing is a strategic function, and only staying close to those that own the product and that sell the product, that is how you are going to shepherd in the prospective clients to buy. And those who help customers remain customers will also make you the most successful marketer. So not only are you bringing customers in, but how do you keep those customers once they're here? And that can only happen if you're working cross collaboratively. All the teams are important in this. And if you're working in silos, break those silos down because they're holding you back.